I come home and I'm alone. I go everywhere alone. I don't hardly talk to him anymore. I don't blame him. I filed for the divorce.
Far too many times I see people make the decision to break up their family on purpose without truly weighing the consequences.
I've never met anybody like him, and I've never loved anybody like him either, but I don't want a divorce. I still am very much in love with my husband.
I divorced a man that I know I will still love until the day that I die.
Welcome back, family. Today, we are going to review modern women who decide to divorce their husbands, even though they are still in love with them, because the world has told them that they could do better. The first woman instantly regrets divorcing her husband when the court informs her that her final decree of divorce has been approved by the judge. And then she has the nerve to be mad when she sees her husband move on with his life. Check it out.
The court notified me that my final decree of divorce has been approved by the judge. I know that it sucks being alone. I come home and I'm alone. I go everywhere alone. I don't hardly talk to him anymore. I don't blame him. I filed for the divorce. So I'm sure people are wondering, well, you filed. Why are you so upset? Why are you crying? Just because you make a decision that you think is going to end up making things better doesn't mean that you have to give up the fact that you love that person or that you did it because you were trying or whatever. I've never met anybody like him, and I've never loved anybody like him either, but I don't want a divorce. I still am very much in love with my husband.
No, ma'am, you still very much in love with him, but yet you divorced him, and now you come to the internet to cry for sympathy. Ma'am, you chose to destroy your own family because you thought that the grass was greener on the other side. But now you are upset because your ex-husband doesn't talk to you more often than you want. Well, here is a news flash for you. He moved on from you. Fellas, this is exactly what I've been telling you since the creation of this channel. Most divorced women are miserable and they just put on a front to appear happy on the internet so that they can drag more women into their misery. These divorced women hate seeing their ex-husbands improve their lives after the divorce. For some reasons, they've been convinced that their ex-husbands will not do better after the divorce. It is very sad to see how these women decide to destroy their own families just because of some temporary feelings. Here another example of a woman who decided to divorce her husband for her own selfishness reasons, even though she's still in love with him.
I divorced a man that I know I will still love until the day that I die. Welcome to my hell. I don't talk about this like hardly ever on here. It's a quite painful subject that I'm still working through myself. But long story short, sparing all the details, I could not continue on the way that we were going for the rest of my life. That sure as hell don't mean that I did not love him and that I don't still love him. It means that I love myself and all of us, my daughter, my stepson, him, and me, more than the pain that it would cause us to all be miserable together. And Southern women love, we love hard. I did this for a lot of reasons, but one of the main reasons was I didn't want my kids to look back and remember me as someone who I'm not. Someone who is sad and angry and cold and distant. I couldn't live with myself if they looked back on their childhood and associated those words with me, whether they know the whole story or not. It really don't matter, honestly. Like, as a mother, there were things that I was forced to deal with and accept that are not in my nature to deal with and accept. And because of that, it would have made all of us miserable. If the ship was going to go down, I wasn't going to bring everybody down with it. Now, this don't mean I'm not still sad and very angry and not still very much in love with the person and the life and the future that I thought that I was supposed to have. But it does mean that I know what real love is. Real love for others, like my children. Real love for a person that I hate a lot of times. And most importantly, though, real love for myself and a lot of self-awareness. Because when I can't function the way I'm supposed to function, I hold it in. And as much as I try to hold it all in, it ultimately spills over to the people closest to me. And it's not good. The fact that I could not cope differently was not worth all of us. And I had to make a really hard decision. A choice that I live with every single day. I chose me. But by choosing me, I was still choosing all of us. And that was the best decision I could make at the time. I have the higher ground now. I can look back and I can see I wasn't equipped to continue on the way that we were going without a lot of negative repercussions for all of us. And I'm not the same person that I was then, though. I've proven personally to myself so many things. And I would be way more equipped to handle situations like that. But I'm also way more equipped to know that I shouldn't have to. But that person that I was then, she was not able. And even though I'm years out of our separation and our divorce, I still can't see myself with anyone else. Now I know I need to try harder because I do deserve that kind of love from someone who really does love. I know it's not going to look like what I thought it was going to look like, and I may never find it, honestly. But at least I know what I am made of and what my kids are worth and what I am worth. Although unfortunately, that doesn't really bring me very much peace. I have peace knowing that I respect myself and I know what love is.
I don't know about you, but all I heard was me, I. The level of selfishness of these modern women is out of this world. Now, like I said before, that the government is the one incentivizing these modern women to divorce their husbands. For example, this woman got to sell the house and get all the money, as you can read on the caption right now on your screen. So as long as these laws and the family court don't change, then modern women will keep on taking advantage of men. We will close this episode with a clip of this woman who will admit that divorcing your husband because of superficial reasons is not a good idea because she did it in the past and she saw how much her children suffered from it. But likely, she did the work to take accountability for her past actions, and now she advised women that divorce is not the way out.
It's so hard. Can we skip to the good part?
It doesn't really work that way.
What do you mean? I did the thing with the hand.
Yeah, no, that's not actually real. It's not.
Far too many times I see people make the decision to break up their family on purpose without truly weighing the consequences. I'm Elizabeth, a mom to 4. I am remarried after going through a divorce 5 years ago. I have 2 boys from a previous marriage. My husband has a daughter from a previous marriage, and then we have a baby together. So I want to share in depth the consequences, a few of the consequences that come when you break up your family on purpose. Because these things are not talked about enough, and I think that divorce is romanticized more than it should be. People get in divorces because they just want to be happy. Yeah, well, here's what happens when you have that as your motivation. Number 1, your kids are going to suffer no matter how amicable the divorce is. Co-parenting is really hard. If you're going through a divorce, it probably means that you don't get along with the person that you're divorcing. Then when you go through the breakup, you have heightened feelings of anger, emotions, whatever. Pile on top of that, both of you have children together that you absolutely would mama bear up or papa bear up on to protect. And then you feel like the person that you're divorcing is your enemy. So unfortunately, what happens a lot of times is the kids get put in the middle of your war. And you're probably thinking, no, that won't happen with me. I thought the same thing, and it was devastating. And let me tell you, there is nothing worse than watching your child suffer. And there's nothing you can do about it. Or at least it feels like there's nothing you can do about it. People also don't talk about what happens when you have a 50-50 custody situation, so you're sharing custody, and you go from seeing your kids every day to not seeing them half of their life. And in the beginning, this is really jolting, especially because if you are like me, I didn't have a great relationship with their dad, and so I didn't always talk to them every day. I didn't obviously see them every day. And I was a mom who saw her kids I tucked my kids in bed every single night of their life, literally until the day that we went through our divorce. You also have to share holidays, and this is really, really hard because in the divorce, typically your community changes. And I don't know if you're like me, but holidays for me with my kids were like the most special thing ever. And then you go to not being able to see them on the holiday. It's really hard. You basically have to make brand new family like traditions and rituals because every other tradition that you've been celebrating up until that point is painful. It's a painful reminder of what was or what could have been. I am not trying to sway you one way or another to go through a divorce, but what I will say is that if you are considering it, you have to consider the fallout for your children especially. And so hopefully these are some tips and behind the scenes looks at somebody who has gone through it, has come out on the other side. I have a really good co-parenting relationship with my ex-husband and his wife, and we're in a much better place. But let me tell you, it is the hardest thing because of what the kids go through and what you go through, but ultimately what your children go through. And if I can encourage you in anything, it is to keep your children and their needs at the forefront of your decision making, not your feelings, not your emotions. And it is so hard not to do because everything is emotionally charged. But the second that I put my feelings and emotions on the back burner and put my kids' needs on the front was when I saw huge changes in my children for the good, for the better, and in the relationship with their father. Okay, last thing. I heard this from a counselor that was counseling my ex-husband and I in co-parenting counseling. And she said that your children see yourselves in you and in your ex and their, father or mother. And the second that you say something negative, insinuate something negative in front of them or to them about the other parent, you basically are telling them, what they interpret is that you're telling them that they are a bad person. So I'll give you an example. Your kids get in the car, you ask them what they had for breakfast that morning, and they say, I had a Frappuccino with pancakes. And your immediate response is, can your dad feed you, healthy stuff? Gosh, that's so bad for you. What they hear, because they see themselves in their dad, what they hear, gosh, you don't know how to make healthy food choices. That's what they hear. So there's a way to get around that. And if you want more information on that strategy, just comment down below. There's a specific strategy that I'm talking about that was given to us by our counselor. But hopefully this is helpful. Divorce sucks. I'm not saying to get divorced or stay. Every situation's different, but you have to consider the fallout for your kids and for yourself.
There you have it, folks. Some of these modern women only learn their lessons after destroying the family unit. But we need to give props to this woman for at least being honest. Now, fellas, it doesn't really matter if you are a good guy, because when these modern women decide to switch on you, just remember that they have daddy government that will back them up in everything they do. So as a man, always remember that you are alone in this. With that being said, always make sure that you are protected at all times. And above all, always keep your head up, focus on your goals, and everything else will follow. I love you and I appreciate you for all your support. Please feel free to like, subscribe, comment, and share to help push this content to more men in need. I'm out. Peace.